2022, first annual meeting for 2022 and stuff. You know, I was writing an invoice the other day at the office. Instead of putting 21, I went back to 2020. I don't know why I went backwards that far, but I did. We don't want to go back any further than that. It's bad enough as it is. But I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Before we have, I guess, call for a quorum, I want to introduce our new member to everyone, Dan Lidecker. Welcome, Dan, to the board. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here.
There you go.
Hope I can help.
Yeah, you definitely. The first meeting will be a little interesting, but once you have MPO 101, it'll all come together.
Be careful, he may make a motion.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that's exactly right.
The newbies in charge of bringing us all lattes.
There you go. We can have it right.
With sugar or without sugar.
That'll be good. That'll be good. Okay, Ms. McDonald, if you call roll, please, sir.
My pleasure. Judge Krebs.
Here.
Charlie Zahn. Judge Canales.
Here.
Mayor Guardo. Nope, didn't sneak in. Mayor Squirrel.
Present.
Mr. Linedecker. Here. Mr. Olivares.
Present.
Mr. Buckner. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Well, thank you, sir. First order of business is our normal business for January of each year is election of officers of a chairman and a vice chairman. So we'll go ahead and go into that and get that out of the way. So we'll go ahead and do the chairman first.
I'll second that.
Okay. I've got a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, for vice chair, I will nominate Commissioner Charlie Zahn for vice chair.
And I'll second that one too.
Okay. Got a motion.
And laugh again.
Got a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, we got that out of the way. Well, welcome, Mayor. Sorry we got started a little early. You're not late, we're just a little early. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and go into public comment. I do have one card this afternoon for public comment, and that's from Mr. Guy Watts. So, Mr. Watts, if you're ready to make your presentation, you're more than...
Thank you, sir. Let me make this point. Several years ago, City Councilman Gil Hernandez and I were before you to propose the extension of Rodfield Road. Now, look on this map there, how strong this group has made that proposal. And you will see that they've extended it all the way to the regional parkway. And my congratulations goes to the staff and to the members that were proposing that. Now, the second reason I'm here, look at that map and you will see the word south, south. All right, all of the plans ahead of time have been for the sharp right northwest to Kingsville. And what I want to suggest to you all, Madam Mayor, on the date that you allow me to come, and the same thing with the county commissioners, is the extension of Rodfield Road through, at the very minimum, to the county limits. Now, why is that so important? Well, that area is a vitally important growing area. We've got Veterans Memorial High School, powerful high school. I proposed long ago a Del Mar academic campus. And you will see the development that are going on around there. Well, now the proposal to you all and to you all is the extension south of Rodfield Road, so we can develop all that area at least before the city limits And then after that, depends on the Clayburgh County folks. Let me conclude by making this point. This group has done an awesome job. As you know, I've shown up every time just to hear what you're doing. It's just awesome, and I congratulate every one of you. And I leave the proposal for extension of Bradfield Road up to you all and up to you all, okay? But with your permission, I will show up with the proposal, and then hopefully with Gil Hernandez, then it's yours, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watts, appreciate it. Okay, any other public comment? Have you received any other cards, Mr. McDonald, public comment? Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then to item 4, approval of the December 2nd, 2021 minutes. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Zahn. Do I have a second?
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
I got a second by Judge Canales.
Yeah, why don't we turn it around?
Any discussion, corrections, addition to the minute? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, item 5, we got discussion and possible action of 5A, which is our draft surface transportation block grant set aside, category 9 funding projects, call for projects. Okay, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item today, as outlined in your memo, is probably looking very familiar to you all. We're finally at the point that today we're recommending and asking for you to officially do the call for projects for the, we use the acronym too much, but let me read it out for you. The Surface Transportation Block Grant Set Aside Funding for Category 9 Call for Projects and Application. Now, this item you've seen a couple of months. Your Technical Advisory Committee has seen it for a few months. Let me give you the changes to date. And so the recommendation you have today is for a joint recommendation on all things except the the weighting. I'll talk about that in a minute. But right now the guidance is a joint recommendation. The evaluation form, which is the last attachment you have, the evaluation form came from your Technical Advisory Committee. They wanted to have the folks that fill out the project application have a sense of how the project would score. Mm-hmm. And so now whoever applies for this category of funding, they can score their own projects. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we'll accept their scoring, but we will, at least they'll have a sense of how they're writing their application to get the maximum points. And from a staff perspective, we want all strong projects, all great applications to make your job really hard to allocate, in this case, about $4.5 million. And so that's a joint recommendation along with the issuing the call for projects, the guidance, and then there's a little bit of just a little bit of change on page one and carrying over to page 2 of your cover memo. You can see that we have the adopted goals and the weighting. Now the Technical Advisory Committee, they did their version of the weighting. They did their version of the weighting based on MPO staff input. But also you can see that first column, initial public survey. We got some comments and surveys back from the public that did the same exercise that you all did. After the TAC meeting, we got more. So we have a total of about 100 surveys done by the public, which was really great turnout. Mm-hmm. And so the difference you see in there, so when the TAC or the Technical Advisory Committee, they use the public comments to help shape what their weighting would be. Now, after that, the staff looked at it. We started with the TAC, but when we looked at the public comments and the hundreds of them, we kind of shifted the points a little bit. But if you look at the relative rankings from top to bottom, we didn't change any of that. We just allocated a few more points around the middle and a little bit near the top. But if you look at the priority and the weighting, there seems to be kind of a top 2 or 3 and a bottom 2, and the rest kind of fall in the middle. So from staff's perspective, and our recommendation is obviously the staff proposed weighting, we think that captures the technical committee, the public comment, and then our own professional judgment that the changes between TAC and the staff recommendation, it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to throw a project out or raise it to the top. Because as I said, we didn't flip-flop the bottom to the top or, things like that. So we think we kept with what we heard from the technical folks, heard from the public, and then again, we mixed in what our sense of these criteria are, and also, what we've done in other places to kind of weight projects. So it seems we've got a good mix, but the recommendation is for the MPO staff proposal, but you make the final decision. You can come up with your own numbers, you can pick another column, you can do a hybrid. It's your decision when you get to the motion. The motion we have is set up is to have all four pieces. So we have the call for projects, we have the guidance, we have the evaluation form, and then we have the weighting. So those are the four pieces that we're recommending approval as proposed in the cover memo. With that, most of the other pieces of the application form are the same, but the application form, we did change some of the language in the application form based on the motion from the Technical Advisory Committee. They had some language that they wanted to clarify. So we accepted all those changes. So in the application form that's in the packet now, that includes all those forms. With that, we're recommending approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. McDonald?
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a comment about, y'all must be very pleased with the survey and the results and how closely they align with the technical advisory, the policy committee, the public. I mean, that's telling me that, we are connecting with the public and we're capturing those things that are important to the public, and then we as a body, policy council and the technical committee are recognizing those needs. So I was kind of floored how close this aligns. So good job. Somebody is really connecting, and the stars are aligning, and I think Mr. Watts has it correct. This body is doing a phenomenal job, and staff attributed to staff. So thank y'all very much.
Hey, Rob?
Very good.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll
Just-
entertain a
well,
motion.
Yeah,
I
a
think
question.
Valente
Oh,
has one.
Valente?
The 100 that we received, were they all through electronically through the MPO website, or was there either a county or city, or were they hand delivered? How did we receive these?
Just to be, I think they all came in through us, they didn't come through other
Entities?
city or county or other websites. So just the MPO website.
Okay.
And none were slid under a door either. They're all electronic.
There you go. Okay.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Sorry about that. Any other questions, comments?
I'll move to approve.
Motion, okay, I got a motion by Mayor Guajardo. I have a second?
I'll
Second.
I got a second by Mayor Skuro. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And
You
the
got it.
project sponsors, thank you. They don't even know it yet.
Okay. Okay, now we got to go into 5B, correct? Adoption of the safety performance measures and targets. Mr. Casper, you're going to do this one for us, right?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Good afternoon. This item involves two parts. The first is reporting the safety performance for the past year, and the second is the yearly adoption of our safety targets. These actions are required by the new federal planning and programming regulations that were adopted in 2015, so I guess they're not really new anymore. And as a reminder, there are 7 national goals that are in those regulations: safety, this one, infrastructure condition, congestion reduction, system reliability, freight and economics, environmental sustainability, and reducing project delivery delays. Of those 7, at the MPO, we have 5 associated performance measures that we have to adopt. 3 of them are highway and 2 of them are transit. Performance Measure 1, this item, PM1, has 5 safety measures and is adopted annually. Performance Measure 2 has 6 pavement and bridge condition measures and is adopted every other year, this being the every year, and so we will be doing that later this year after TxDOT gets through their process. Performance Measure 3 also has 6 performance measures, and again is adopted every other year, and this is the every year. Transit Asset Management has 4 measures, and it has to be adopted every year by the MPO and the RTA. And then the Public Transit Safety Plan has 4 measures that has to be adopted every year by the MPO and the RTA, and that's actually the next item on our agenda, so a little foreshadowing. So 2021 was not a good year for crashes around the country, in the state or at the local level. And around the country, total fatalities jumped about 15% over what they were in 2020, and 2020 was the worst year since the mid-1990s. So we are seeing a significant trend up, even though a lot of the travel declined. At the state level, Texas averaged about 11 deaths a day through 2021. The total final was 3,983, which is just a little bit higher than 2020, but still a bad trend. And locally, I'll just pull out the 8-mile stretch of South Padre Island Drive between Old Brownsville Road and Rodfield Road had 12 fatal accidents on it in 2021. That 8-mile stretch, 12 fatal crashes. So we have a ways to go. We are, as you did last month, we are forming a safety committee. We'll be doing a safety plan, and we have a state-of-the-art, honestly the best software in the world right now to analyze crashes that we are in the process of getting calibrated. So over the next year, you will see some significant crash analysis. In reviewing the data, what you see are the 2018, 2019, and 2020 actuals, and then the 2021 and 2022 targets. The 3,983 that I mentioned, that is still a draft number. That's there's a lag after crashes because it takes a while for people that are in the hospital to resolve themselves. So the numbers are in a state of flux. But the 3,983 is significantly higher than the 2021 target was. And so what happens then? Well, what will happen is Texas will sit down with Federal Highway, and they will have a discussion, and Federal Highway will make a determination whether or not Texas is making significant progress toward attaining the goals. Given that Texas actually, it is in the top half, if not the top third of improvement in 2021, I think Texas, I think there will be probably an attainment. If Federal Highway were for some reason to say, no, Texas, you didn't make progress toward the 10-year targets, what happens then is Texas is forced to spend all of their safety money on safety projects. Well, Texas does that anyway. In fact, there's the new statewide committee that is looking to get some other categories of money to put more money into crashes. So there will be no fiduciary impact. It's more of I guess, a on paper issue. So there won't be any real impact. Also, if you look at Table 2 in the memo, what you see are the numbers that correspond from our local area to the state. These aren't what we're adopted. It just helps it bring it down to our level. We are in the 30-ish crash death area, although our numbers aren't final yet, but we may actually improve a little bit on that. I don't know. I'm not going to jinx myself. So as far as adopting targets, our MPO has every year selected to support the state targets. We could choose to adopt our own, but our targets can't be less strict than TxDOT's. Given that TxDOT has adopted Division 0, all we would be doing is adopting a faster route to zero. So it wouldn't make too much sense for us to do that. And quite frankly, this makes it a lot easier for everybody that we say we're supporting the state. So the TAC and the MPO staff both recommend that the MPO you adopt that we continue to support the statewide planning targets. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we adopt the safety performance measures and targets of the state of Texas as the safety performance measures and targets.
Okay, you got a motion? Motion by Commissioner Zahn, seconded by Mayor Guajardo. Any questions of Mr. Casper on what he went over? Any questions? Hearing none.
Chairman, not a question, but
A comment.
just a comment for the group and those in attendance. You heard Craig mention the 11 fatalities per day across the state of Texas. Every district engineer across the state receives a message at 6 a.m. every morning on our fatality rate across the state and in their districts. So the one I received this morning has been increasing steadily to 12. So this is the first time in my position that I've seen us across the state reach a number of 12 fatalities per day on average across the state of Texas.
Well,
So it's going to take all of us, and that's, you can ask Rob and Craig just how we're putting more money towards safety these past few years, yet you're still seeing the increase that we're seeing now. So it's going to take all of us and to get this done.
And Craig, on that one stretch that just seems to be our, problem area, is lighting a factor there at all? Because I just saw, or maybe, I don't know if I read it or, what came across my screen, but San Antonio is embarking in a huge lighting campaign with regards to low water crossings, and we actually lost a friend in one of those low water crossings. Maybe that's why I got sent that. It was our friend's daughter. And it's a shocking statistic how they could basically compute there was a nexus between poor lighting, in this case, the low water crossings. The people were going around not understanding the depth. And so even though there was barricades here, they thought, I can go around, and then got into trouble. And so I've been doing a lot of lighting assessments in our parks, a little bit different, but wondering if these fatalities could be linked to lighting and whether or not we could use lighting, since there's so much money right now for lighting, and particularly solar lighting.
So lighting, FHWA at the end of November put out additional proven safety countermeasures that they'd like to see implemented, and lighting is one of them.
Okay.
And so that will be one of the analysis points that we will do on all the crashes in our region, not just the fatalities, but all of
That's
them.
great. Well, I mean, if we can, if we're starting to target projects where all our jurisdictions could cooperate, where there's really no, disagreement, lighting would be one of them.
Yep.
And it seems like there's huge infrastructure dollars for us all, but if we can agree on one concept that could benefit everybody, that might be the one to galvanize behind.
Well, a hope I have for the safety committee is that we come up with our regional safety plan, that we come up with some sort of program or some approach that we can all agree on.
Yeah, very good.
Has there been any analysis on these crashes as far as could they been prevented by engineering controls, or were these behavioral issues?
That is exactly what our software will be doing. Right now, the rule of thumb is about 90% of crashes are behavior-based enforcement. So only about 10% are engineering. But there's a changeover in the traditional approach to safety. I forget what it's called, the safe system approach, that says, okay, people are fallible, and so assume they're going to get into crashes, and then what can we do to minimize the physical forces that people feel in a crash? And so as we transition from sort of the traditional engineering to the safe system approach, I think you'll see more of that stuff. So.
And I wonder if autonomous vehicles will see a decline in crashes, right? If they're smarter than we are on behavior, then, theoretically. Unless you're an iRobot fan, which I am. If the red light's on, we may not be. But, there's going to be a lot of factors, right? But if you can give us those stats, we're going to be in a situation where we need to apply for things. We need to make some assumptions, and we don't know if your stats will come in timely enough.
Yeah. Well, we should have software. We're in the process right now. We have a meeting scheduled actually for tomorrow to have a discussion about it. But our hope is to have the software deployed by March.
Okay, so we'll make it.
yeah,
Good.
we'll get it. Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, going on to 5C, acceptance of the current Corpus Christi Regional Transportation Authority Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the world of our federal rules and regs and guidance, we work together with TxDOT, all of your agencies, including the public transportation provider. And so as part of that interaction, we as an MPO and you as the policy committee are required to accept if not adopt, but today we're asking you to accept the regional safety plan, the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. It has a great acronym, but this plan was in your packet. We put the whole thing in your packet to make sure everyone got it, because as you remember, we like to give you things 30 days ahead so you can read them and digest them, ask questions, run it through the technical committee. This is a document that didn't go through the technical committee. It's a product of the RTA. They develop it. They worked with TxDOT and the MPO to get it done. So this one is just making sure that it's adopted by the MPO. And so we're asking you to accept the document as is, no changes. And this document usually gets updated once a year. So during the update, we may have some suggestions for the next version, but no suggestions for this round. We're recommending accept as is. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Now I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Landler. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Oliver. Any further questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 6, this is just discussion, comments. 6A is the TxDOT 2003 Unified Transportation Plan project selection progress. Mr. Casper.
Hello again. So the every year Texas updates their 10-year program, and this year it's a little compressed. There's a lot of unknowns with bipartisan infrastructure law and some of the other project cost things going on. And so what we are proposing is to not use a traditional process that will build towards in 2024 doing a full sort of a call for projects, project analysis, and then for this year, we'll just keep the projects that are in the 2022 UTP, keep those in the 2023 UTP. TxDOT on January 11th is when they are supposed to provide the list from the district up to TPP, the headquarters, to do their project scoring. And so given that the bipartisan infrastructure law funding hasn't been brought down into 2023 yet, and the program is over, or the 10-year TIP is in 2022 is over-programmed, and so they're actually looking to remove projects from it. We think that the best approach for us this year is just to keep our same projects as they sit now. We'll do a set of applications so we can get more information about the projects. In discussions about the projects in the current UTP, we found that there's some unknowns associated with the different projects. We'd like to work some of those out, like as Park Road 22. We don't know exactly what that project entails and what the ultimate goals for the project are. So with that, attachment 1, so again, going back to 2024, we'll have more tools, more data, and our new adopted performance measures. So in a year, we'd be, at this point, having done the process. Attachment 1 is the letter that shows, we got the first week of November, that shows the goal is January 11th. It talks about it being overprogrammed. Attachment 2 is the timeline. It shows that the list will be released at the end of June and adopted at the end of August. Attachment 3 is a web link to the current 2022 UTP, and it describes the 12 funding categories. And this is the state description. Each of these 12 funding categories actually is comprised of multiple federal categories of funds, like the Surface Transportation Block Grant or the National Highway Performance Program. And so the TxDOT accountants that make sure that the project funds that go to the projects, they definitely earn their money because they're dealing with 2 different overlapping sets of requirements for each project, so they have a tough job. Attachment 4 is the funding estimate for the 2021 to 2024 region. We will have the 2023 to 2026 TIP towards the end of February, so we're a little offset in that step. Attachment 5 is a web link that shows the projects that are in our MTP. These should be the universe of projects that we are looking to put into our 10-year. For next go-around, next year, we would be looking to potentially adjust those. The MTP shows 3 time periods: the first 4-year TIP, the next years 5 to 10, sort of intermediate time, and then year 11 to 20. next year's when we'll be looking to adjust projects, maybe move a project from the 11 to 20 into the first 4 or whatever it is. Attachment 6 is the map of the projects in 2020 from our 2022 UTP in the next years, and shows the 7 projects in the region that are circled, and there's a table that shows a description of them. Attachment 7 is the proposed application, and 8 is the timeline once a project gets implemented. Going back to the national goals of reducing project delivery delays, there is really an emphasis at the federal level to make sure projects go out on time. And we've had some problems in our region getting projects out. So one of the focus points in our application, which is actually based on TxDOT's application, is making sure there's a good timeline, a good progression, so that the project applicants understand when we put in our project, and next is the AFA, and we know what are all the steps that need to happen, and making sure there's a realistic understanding of that. So when we program the funding, we know when the funds will be going out. That was a really quick summary. Are there any questions?
Good. Any questions, comments? Just this discussion, we don't have to have a motion or anything.
But yeah, I blew through a lot, sorry.
No comments, no questions. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to 6B. It's the fiscal year 2023-2026 Transportation Improvement Program Development Process. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is going to sound awfully familiar. So what Craig said, but with a little bit more detail. Now, the Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, and the state version, the STIP, the first 4 years of that 10-year Unified Transportation Program, that's your Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP. We need to, as Craig said, look at all the projects that are in your current 25-year, 10-year, 4-year time periods. We need to make sure that they're still on track, they're not delayed, they don't have any cost overruns. So we'll need to go through the process to bring that back. Now, fortunately, as we did with the 10-year, 2 years ago, you prioritized all your projects for 25 years. So carving out 4 and 10 years, we're not going to blow the budget. We're not going to have too many projects for dollars. It'll probably be actually on the other side. We may have a little bit more money than we usually have, and we'll bring that to you in the next couple of months. But the key is that we're proposing to stay on track for the tight timeline is to use the current adopted projects, reassess them, check the dollars, see how much more money we may get from the new infrastructure law, any other money that may flow down. So we'll give you new cost estimates, we'll give you new funding estimates, and we'll repackage everything so it'll be a new document for the TIP. We have to reset those performance measures. And earlier today, you adopted performance measures 1, the safety targets. That'll be in the new TIP. So we're going to update everything we can in that 4-year document, and then we'll bring it back through the technical committee. We'll run it out through the public, and then we'll bring it back here in a couple months to get through our public process, which, as you know, is a 1-month public process. It won't be back next month, but soon after, we need to have this out, being talked about at the local governments, the public, and everyone else that has a opinion, a comment on what you all want to recommend as the next 4 years with the projects. So it's an information item today. We're on track. As Craig said, similar process. We're suggesting no new projects because to get a new project in and get it tracked and evaluated, most new projects take probably 3 or 4 years just to get described fully. And so to put it in a 4-year document, the 4-year document will be over before the project is ready through, design, environmental clearance, right-of-way, public process. And so any of those new projects we don't think can be done in time, certainly in the TIP. But we're not going to say no, but we're recommending that we follow the path of existing projects, no new projects, and then package it with anything that's new, the new funding, new cost estimates, and bring it back through the technical and the public process. So that's where we stand today on the TIP development. You'll probably get an update next month.
Any comments, discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to item 6C then, Unified Planning Work Program, Partner Agency Planning Study Coordination and Update. Mr. Casper?
One of the primary purposes of an MPO is actually coordinating transportation planning around the region. Back in the 1960s, when MPOs were first conceived, There was an issue with localities planning roads that either didn't line up or lined an arterial up with a local street. And so among the first purposes of MPOs was just making sure all the transportation planning around the region was coordinated. And so a homework item we're asking you is if you have any ideas for transportation planning that would like to be done, corridor studies, or any projects that would impact any of our classified roads, drainage and flood studies, please get with your staffs or let us know what they are, and so we can include them into our UPWP. Right now, the primary purpose of the UPWP, though, is the 2-year work program for us as staff at the MPO. So it will list all of the work that we see our doing in 2023 and 2024, and with budget, it's fiscally constrained, so you'll see a budget associated with it and the products that will come out of those expenditures. Literally this week, we got the planning emphasis areas from the federal government, FTA and Federal Highway, about what they see and what they will require us to emphasize in our planning approach over the next 2 years. We don't know what they mean, but we do have the list of the titles. So it's Tackling Climate Crisis, Tackling the Climate Crisis, Equity and Justice 40, Complete Streets, Public Involvement, the Strategic Highway Network, US DOD Coordination, which is an interesting one to me, Federal Land Management Agency Coordination, Planning and Environmental Linkages, and Data and Transportation. So our UPWP will have those 8 planning emphasis areas among our other duties. Are there any questions about our UPWP?
Any questions, comments?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to item 7. Any member of the committee have any comments of community interest they want to bring up at this time? No community, okay. That'll bring us down to item 8. Our next TPC meeting will be on February the 3rd. So check your calendars, make sure you're available on February 3rd. If not, let Mr. McDonald know, and then we can reorganize and go to a different date if we need to, okay? With that, got a motion to adjourn? Okay, we got a motion by Judge Canales. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mayor Guajardo. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank y'all very much. We're adjourned at 2:37 p.m.
Thank you, Rob.